Today I'm talking about the A2 CofC qualification. Let's just jump straight into it. Roll intro. What's good, guys? Curtis from the Drone Diary here, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about the A2 CofC course I just completed, how I found it, what it was all about, a bit of detail on the course, and yeah, all just the good things. If you're familiar with the new EASA rules that were introduced to the UK on the 31st of December 2020, you will know that all drones on the market at the moment are legacy drones, and they currently fall into the A3 category unless you do the A2 CofC. If you're not familiar with the rules, I've done another video which I've linked in the description. I'll try and link it here if I can. I'm not sure, I'm new to YouTube. Let's see if it works. But yeah, go check that out. It will tell you basically, if you're flying a DJI model, exactly where your drone falls into the A1, 2 or 3 subcategories. I think if you're flying anything that's a legacy drone, the A2 CofC is a course you definitely need to be doing to be able to fly in the A2 category rather than the A3, which majority of the drones are currently flying in. The A2 CofC is essentially designed to be a one-day course. Now, I'll touch on that a bit later on in the video, but yeah, it's designed to be a one-day course to give us remote pilots the knowledge and the competency, I can't say that word, competency, to know where and how to operate or not to operate our drones. So I did my course with a company called Pigs Can Fly. A lot of the drone Facebook groups I'm a part of, a lot of people I was chatting to, that's who they were doing it with. So I checked it out and they looked like a reasonable, good company, had good feedback. So that's why I chose to use them. So before we go any further, this is not a promotional video. This is not an advertising video for Pigs Can Fly. That is just who I done my A2 CofC course with. So yeah, as I said, a lot of people recommended Pigs Can Fly to me, so that's what I decided to go with. The course cost me about £99 before Christmas. That was on a special offer, but lo and behold, even now on February 24th, it is still £99 to buy. So it's relatively inexpensive. £99 I don't think is a bad investment for a qualification that allows you to fly with more freedom, whereas if you think back to the PFCO, that was in excess of £1,000 to do that course. So yeah, £99 or £100 or anywhere in the region of £100, I think a lot of them are at now, is I think a good investment, good price. So when doing it with Pigs Can Fly, the course is basically made up of two types of learning material or revision content, so to speak. You have a written syllabus, which is a document you get provided in an email and you download, and you have an e-learning package which you have to register and sign up and go through the Pigs Can Fly website. Now personally, I think having both types of revision material and learning material is perfect. I think that's a really good way to offer a training course. Some people prefer to sit down with a cup of tea and have a read, which I do now and again. And then a lot of people like to be on an e-learning course on a computer, on a laptop, going through the learning that way. So having both available, I think really is a positive, really is a good thing. I use both. I found both very useful, so we'll go into that a bit more now. So if we start with what I'm going to call the syllabus, which is the document you download and read through at your own leisurely pace. This is made up with not only all the information you need to pass the exam, but it's also made up of all the good information you will need to understand aviation at a basic level and therefore become a better remote or drone pilot. So the syllabus itself is made up of 12 modules. Now, as we run through them, I'm going to put them up here, hopefully, and you can see exactly what each one is categorized and how we're going through it. So the first one is abbreviations and acronyms. If you haven't done this course, or you're new to aviation or new to drones, now, I wasn't aware of exactly how many abbreviations there are in aviation. It's unreal, but having that in the syllabus that you get to keep and refer back to not only during the revision, but in future references was amazing. I think there's so many abbreviations out there and acronyms that being able to go back to it, perfect. So the first real learning module is UAS Airspace Operating Principles. Bit of a mouthful, but yeah, this is essentially the main rules of airspace and aviation and dives into the different classes of airspace, so outside of what we will be flying in as drone pilots, but all the different airspace classes in general. Also discusses flight restriction zones such as like airports and stuff like that, so it's a real good module to get your teeth into first. So the second module is aviation safety and good airmanship. So this module talks about flight planning, being good airmanship rules, living by sort of the 3 codes of knowledge, practice and preparation. So they are good rules to live by, so definitely a good module to read. The next module is air law and responsibilities. Now this module will provide you with all the legislation on how you operate drones and dive a bit into the different drone classifications. So the next module in the document will be legislation interpretations. Now, they actually provide you a separate document in your downloads for this, because it's quite a big module, and it is definitely beneficial to have it as a separate module. This module goes into the VLOS and the 1-to-1 rule and the maximum flying height, so it's really a good document to have. I keep it on my phone, so it's a really good document to have to refer back to in the future. The next module is CAP 382 and mandatory occurrence reporting. This basically talks about who and where you should report incidents that you may have flying a drone. The next good module is meteorology. This essentially talks about the different weather conditions, and as a remote pilot or a drone operator, we should have a basic understanding on how different weather conditions can affect our aviation and our flights, etc. That's then followed by military low flying areas, which essentially is what it says on the tin. It just labels and details where the military low flying areas are in the UK and how it's separated. After that is human factors. Now, that was quite a weird and good module to have. It really opened my eyes, because you don't think about it when you're flying a drone. It talks about how human factors can affect your flight, whether you're tired, hungry, emotional, stressed, or thirsty. Like, those little factors you think would play a really big part on how you operate your drone and the mental state you might be in to operate your drone. So I thought it was a really good thing to have in there, and I didn't think of it until I started the course. The next module is a knowledge of aircraft and principles of flight. Now, basically that's what it is. It talks about the different parts of your aircraft and the main basic principles of flight and how flight happens. So it talks about thrust, lift, drag and weight, those four main principles when it comes to flying. The second to last module is flight planning and operational procedures. This basically, how they describe it, gives you an insight into what the GVC course might be like, going into even more detail around planning your flights, etc. So that was a real good module to read into and get your teeth into. And the last module in this document is emergency procedures. This is what to do and the emergency procedures you should follow should you get something like a flyaway, for example, and how to deal with that. So after the syllabus, which is a really good read, and like I said, you can keep the syllabus and keep it all and read it through as many times as you like, you get a link to a e-learning package. Now, this is made up of 5 modules on an e-learning package and basically incorporates all the modules in the syllabus, but they're just split across the 5 different modules. The 5 modules are broken down as the airspace operating principles, external influences, so that's about weather and human factors, etc., flight planning and safety, law and legislation, and then the 5th module is the mock exam or mock assessment. Each module will roughly take about 10 to 20 minutes to do, but it just depends on the learner, how slow you want to do it or how quickly you want to get through it. The modules like the syllabus can be done over and over again, so there's no issue there, and it basically just puts all what you've probably read through already into a more of an interactive feel online, which again, if you're that way inclined to learn, it's definitely a good thing to have on the course. Having both of those options can really help the type of learner excel and do better on the exam. It'd be also good to note that as well as the learning syllabus and the e-package, you get these additional documents, which I thought was a really, really nice touch. You get a site survey and risk assessment form, which I'll put on the screen now. This is a checklist that allows you to complete an on-site risk assessment of the area you're flying in. Just goes through certain things, as you can see on the screen now, which just allows you to make sure that the area you're flying in is safe to do so and that you'd be happy to fly. The second document, which should be on your screen now, is the remote pilot flight recorded form. It's another checklist, but this one is more aimed at your drone, so checking each different component and compartment of your drone to make sure that it's safe to fly, which again I thought was really, really nice. At the bottom there you can also see a flight record or a flight log, which again, a nice thing to have, keep in your drone bag. And yeah, you can record all your flights, so you ever go back to them, or if anyone asks when you were flying, you got that nice record to have. So again, nice little touch. And the third document on your screen now is called the Air Chart Legend document. Now, this is just a useful document to have to refer back to, mainly around restricted airspaces and other good things to do with flying like that. So yeah, those 3, what I'm classing as extra documents, because you don't require them to pass your exam, is a really nice touch. Definitely handy to print a few off and keep in the bag when you're out on your travels and out doing your flying. Some really good documents there. So the next thing you might want to know is, how long did it take? So The course itself is being advertised as a one-day course, almost like some sort of CBT or e-learning course, which a lot of people are offering. But I would say, because you're purchasing it and a lot of the documents you get are downloadable or accessible through online, it's take as long as you want, really. It really depends on how you learn and how best you are suited. So yes, you probably could do it in a day, and I did mine in a day. I'd done all my revision in a day, and then I had my test the next day. But you could take as long as you want. You could take a week, 2 weeks, a month, just do a little bit at a time, read through each one. I would definitely recommend going through the lot of it if you can before your exam, or just touch up on areas you might want to touch up. It can be as long or as quick as you like, depending on how fast you are and what time you've got available. So that's a real big bonus, because you can learn at your own leisure, do it when it suits you. So moving on to the exam, and talking about the exam is made up of 35 questions, and you get a maximum of 75 minutes to complete it. Now, believe me when I say the 75 minutes is overkill. You won't take 75 minutes to do the exam. I'd say allow the 75 minutes in your schedule to do the exam, but it's never going to take 75 minutes to do it. I think it took me about 25 minutes to do, and I was confident and happy with all my answers. It's got a pass mark of 80%, and if my maths is right, that means you need 28 questions to pass. The questions are multiple choice, so you get 1 of 4 answers, which really helps jog the old memory if you've forgotten a little bit of information there. But again, that makes it easier to do the exam. You have the option to flag questions that you might want to go back to at the end. Once you move on from a question, you can always go back at any time to check it, review all your answers when you finish the exam. The exam conditions are done at home, on a computer or a laptop. You will need a webcam, because the exam is monitored by someone watching you. I did mine on my Mac there, which comes with a built-in camera. Most laptops do have a built-in webcam. If you do need an external webcam, definitely source that before you do the exam. If you are using a computer like my desktop Mac there, or a laptop with a built-in camera, well, actually a laptop will be alright because you can move around the room, but they do want to see the surrounding room, so check that you're not using any other devices or there's no one else in the room feeding you information. They like to see the desk you're working at or wherever you're set up. So if you are using it, like I said, if you are using a desktop computer like mine, it's good to have a mirror so you can just literally show them around the room a little bit. It worked fine for me. There was no issues at all with that. All in all, the exam was a really straightforward process. I definitely recommend, if your exam's at 9:30 in the morning, set up and get ready to go from 9 o'clock. There is a few bits you need to go through to be able to get into the exam. I didn't have Google Chrome on my computer, so I had to download that and then go through the setup process. So just give yourself that extra time to prepare and set up ready for the exam. You don't want any unwanted pressure of trying to rock up at 9:30 and you've got to download all these browsers to be able to do it. So give yourself that time. If you, like I said, if your exam's at 9:30, aim to start for 9 to allow you to go through that setup process. But apart from that, really easy exam, really straightforward process, nothing too difficult about it, to be honest, as long as you do the revision. Overall, the entire course was good. It was perfect. It was exactly what I needed. The 2 sets of learning documents from Pigs Can Fly were spot on, and really suited my type of learning style. I could sit and go through the documents on my sofa, essentially, which I did on that day, and then go through the e-learning package to basically refresh and revise what I'd already read. The only down thing I can point out is with Pigs Can Fly, I don't know about any other companies, is the mock assessment. So basically on the mock assessment, you get 1 mock assessment full of questions. Once you've completed that, you can go back and do it as many times as you want, but the questions are all the same. So essentially, once you've completed it once and you go through and you know the answers you got wrong, you then know all the answers, so you can pass the mock with 100% every single time. So I think if it was me, I would provide maybe 3 or 4 different mock exams so it can really test your knowledge. Like going into it, I was still a little bit nervous because I'd only done the 1 mock, and I knew how to pass that because I knew the answers before I'd started it after the first time of completing it. The course itself, in my opinion, is a must for anyone looking to operate or fly in the A2 category. That's flying a legacy drone that initially would be in the A3. And if I'm being perfectly honest, Pigs Can Fly, I definitely recommend them as a supplier. If I was to give some tips on what I would do once you've purchased your course, if it's possible, I don't know if other suppliers offer it, but definitely set your exam date then. Give yourself something to work towards. If you can set it out in the future, do that. If you get it on the Monday, I don't know, if you've got the time, set it for a week or 2 weeks out, so you've got that date to work to, so you know you're revising and learning to that date. I know if I didn't do that, it would have been very much of, I would have never done the revision, and I would have just been like, yeah, I'm never going to do the exam because I'm never going to revise. But by setting that date, it allowed me to revise and learn something for that date. Admittedly, last minute me, I did it all the day before, but I was confident in my knowledge a little bit on that I would be all right to pass. Continuing on that, give yourself enough time to do the revision. If you want to do it over a period of time, do it over a period of time. There's no set time to do it, so do an hour a night or a few hours a day or a few hours a week, etc., and then do the exam when you're ready. Also, the next tip I would say is make sure you give yourself enough time for the revision and you do the revision. There was so much I learned by going through the syllabus and the e-learning package that I had no idea about before. It's good knowledge to have if you're a drone pilot. So give yourself enough time to revise. If you want to do it all in one day, definitely doable. You can, but yeah, if you want to do it a day, a few hours a week, a few hours a day, do it. And the final one, I touched on it earlier, but set up your exam earlier. I wasn't aware of how many of different little things I had to download and set up just to be able to do the exam. But because I allowed myself enough time by setting it up at 9 o'clock for my 9:30 start, I still had 10, almost 15 minutes to relax and prepare myself before my exam started. So yeah, they're my 3 tips. I definitely recommend Pigs Can Fly as a provider. The documents they provided were amazing and worked perfectly for me. I passed with 96%. I think I got one question, 97%. I got one question wrong, I think. Yeah, so yeah, Pigs Can Fly get a massive thumbs up from me. I hope you found this video informative about the A2 CofC course. If you've got any questions, please put them in the comments box below and I will answer them. But yeah, if you did like it, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.